YouTube, how we doing? It is past the prop time. It is Friday. Question and answer, best bets, all coming at you for week 7 action today. We are joined by one of our guys we had. I don't know. When's the last time we had you on here? It's been a little bit. I think we got you in for baseball last time.
I think once or twice I was on for baseball, but it's been a couple
months. We haven't got you on here for football, so very exciting. I love that you're hyping up your Iowa State guys. Obviously, I'm happy to see you hyping up my Alan Lazard man over there. So how you doing? How's NFL treated you? Where are we at right now so far through the season?
It's been an interesting season, not going to lie. I feel like on the touchdown scorer side of things, I feel like it's been a lot of more randomness than we're used to seeing. On the typical prop side, though, I mean, it's been okay.
Good stuff.
Things finally settled in after about week 4. So
yeah, no, I saw that. I don't know who posted it. It might have been Gills, the guy who now is with Action, posting how much less touchdowns there's been so far this year, which it was crazy. It's like 60 touchdowns, right? 50 or 60 lower than usual. So I don't know if that's just defenses learning schemes a little bit better, if it's just poor blocking up front. As a Packer fan, seeing that last week, that was pretty awful. So that obviously doesn't help the touchdown score through the year there. But Stu, how we doing? Obviously, we're back here for Friday. Obviously, not basketball. It's NFL time now.
Yeah, no, it's fun. I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on, tons of different sports. I mean, if you just like watching sports and betting on stuff, this is your time of year, right? You can really do it on anything. It's funny, too. I was just about to bring up that same thing you brought up with the stats about the touchdowns. And, touchdowns, over minus 100 or whatever are hitting at 38%, something crazy low like that. And it's funny, you'd expect the odds to be better, but since so many people are now betting touchdown parlays and all that stuff, the odds actually aren't any better. So it's kind of a crazy time for touchdowns. But luckily, we've just got some regular props for you guys here today with a nice parlay at the end with some very nice plus money. I'm sure you're going to want to stick around for that one.
Yeah, we got a pretty big one there, but we always want to kind of talk about Thursday night, see how that all went there. Any takeaways from either one of you guys? Obviously, a lot higher scoring game than expected. Obviously, Andy Dalton doing his best Jameis Winston impression without actually throwing the ball down the field, just throwing the pick sixes. But is either one of you guys have anything from that game that kind of changed your mind about anything? Obviously, the Cardinals getting D-Hop back, no Hollywood Brown. Is there anything that you guys saw or anything you could take away from that?
Well, can Kyler Murray fucking spread the ball around? What's going on here? As a guy that bet Rondell Moore, started out the game a 31-yard pass. I'm feeling good. I'm the Twitter fingers are going, right? I'm ready to celebrate, take a little victory lap already. Nothing for the rest of the game. DeAndre Hopkins just peppered with targets. I also had AJ Green under 25 receiving yards, and it voided. He didn't play a single snap all game, unfortunately. I knew he was going to get phased out. I didn't realize it was going to be that much. In return, your guy, Greg Dortch, is back from the grave. And what happened was Greg Dortch played in the slot, which kicked freaking 5'7" Rondell Moore to the outside, a position he is not best suited to play. So your guy, Greg Dortch, killed my bet. So I want to give you a shout out for that. But pretty much, I think we just know both these defenses kind of suck. I mean, right, we've already known Arizona sucks, but man, the Saints defense has really not been good this season at all. It feels like they're one of those teams that's a lot scarier on paper versus when you actually kind of look at how they're doing in these games.
Yeah, anything for you, prop guy?
I think I learned I'm not betting the Saints anymore this year. Props wise, I had Kamara to score a touchdown last night, and it just, I just can't deal with Taysom Hill.
Yeah, vulture.
But no, it was good to see offense on Thursday nights. And this goes back to the touchdown scorer props. It's all the lesser named guys scored last night.
Yep.
Yeah, and who had defenses scoring 2 touchdowns, right? What the hell? I mean, you could have Jawan Johnson with 2 touchdowns, defense scoring 2 touchdowns. It's just, I mean, that defense scored more points than I think the whole last game scored total with both offenses on the Broncos. That's crazy to me, just to kind of see how bad some of these Thursday night football games are. But that one was entertaining, at least stayed close, so I didn't have to watch like a blowout or anything as well. But let's head into actual games that we actually want to watch here. We usually kind of talk about this on Wednesday, but we didn't really talk much football Wednesday. I'll start out with you, Stu. What is your main TV game of the week. Which one is getting the big plasma and which one's getting that laptop off to the side here this week? Top 2 games that you're looking forward to.
I mean, you already know we've got the pass the prop rivalry game going on. You're a Packers guy. I'm a Commanders guy right here. So that'll definitely be my, big TV game. I think I'll probably end up with quite a few bets in that game. One that we'll talk about a little bit later today. So that's probably my number one priority. I think a game that might be a little surprising for people to hear, but I think actually will be very informative. I mean, obviously the Kansas City game will be good in the later slate, but in the early slate, I think I'm going to be paying attention to the Giants-Jaguars game. 2 teams that I think we still need to learn a little bit more about, right? Like the Giants, every week we come on here and we're like, how are they still winning? Like, how are they doing this? They're just, it's working though, right? Whatever they're doing is working. Jacksonville was trending upwards to start out the season. They've been a lot slower on offense these last couple weeks. So for me, I'm very interested to see how those teams kind of square off. But I think I do lean the Giants to keep that winning streak alive in that one.
For sure. Prop guy, you got 2 games that you're looking forward to that maybe find a little bit more prop action in, or just some games you want to watch?
I think just the 2 games that I want to watch are going to be, I got to root for my Cyclone guys, Packers, Commanders. I get to cheer for Lazard, and then I get to flip right to the Jets, Broncos, and watch Breece Hall. I'm probably going to parlay them both to score. Maybe with Dave Montgomery on Monday night. I don't know.
Yeah,
Iowa State trifecta.
Breece Hall is so good, dude. I bet him last week against my own team, which I usually don't bet against my own team too much, but Breece Hall got my biggest play of the week last week, and he crushed everything there. I think if I had to pick a game, I'll do one under the radar one. And I want to watch this Cowboys team face Detroit. I want to see Dak back in action. I want to see DeAndre Swift back in action. I want to see what this Lions offense can do against this type of a pass rush, right? We've seen them score points on pretty much everybody, right? Jared Goff throwing the ball all the way around. But now we're going to kind of see Jared Goff in that scared little spot, right, where he's going to have Parsons on him. He's going to have literally everybody blitzing on this team coming at you, leading the NFL in sacks. I think that's going to be a tough one. And then obviously I want to go to Houston. I want to see Houston. I have a lot of people. I have a lot of Houston players, whether it be Brandon Cooks or my boy Damian Pierce in fantasy leagues. I want to see if Devontae Adams can finally have a pop-off game. He hasn't had one since really week 1 when he had the 150. He had the 100 yards in the other game. That was like 19 targets. So I'd like to see him have a pop-off game this week. I want to kind of see some fantasy points fly in that one. I think 2 under-the-radar ones that I really wasn't expecting to want to watch. But I really want to see that Cowboys one.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Are the Lions secretly the best offensive line maybe that the Cowboys have faced all season? I mean, obviously on paper, like we don't think of the Lions like that, but Penny Sewell coming in, being great. I know the Eagles do have a good offensive line, but they had those injuries in the second half, which kind of really showed what that Cowboys pass rush could do. So that's a good point too. I think I might, I don't want to get too bogged down, but I think I might bet the Cowboys in that one too. I do feel like Dak coming back. I know it can throw off offenses sometimes, but we were slowly starting to see the Cooper Rush decline, right? I mean, Central Michigan guy got the colors on right here, but Cooper Rush, he was doing his job, but people were starting to figure it out. I think Dak adds obviously a whole new dimension to that offense. Maybe they come out a little bit angry after that Eagles loss.
For sure. Let's check out who's in the chat with us today early on. We got Jay being number 1 in there. It was a good morning when you did tweet or did bring this to us. It was 11:14. He was in here before we were in here. Love to see that. We have Turbo in here as always. Plus Money Bob rooting on those Cyclones. And the repping maroon. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, I would like to see the Phillies continue.
Not for the Phillies, buddy. Not for the Phillies.
Yeah, for the football team or Commanders, whatever they are now. But we'll see. We got Ryan in here, Pat. And Jay bringing up Halliburton, who's actually from 15 minutes from my house. I don't know if you guys knew that, but yeah, he grew up in Oshkosh. That's right down the road from me. So, all right, 10 minutes in. We got about 30 guys live, viewers in the chat during your lunchtime. Love to see it. Smash that like button while we're getting into it, and I will kick it off. Who wants to go first here? Stu, prop guy, who wants to go first here to drop your first play of the day?
We'll let our guests go first, right? Yeah, that's a courtesy.
I like to see that you're in the game we were talking about there a little bit, bringing up Mr. Zeke.
Yeah, so just, what you guys are saying about the Lions Cowboys, I'm going to take Ezekiel Elliott over 64.5 rushing yards. He's coming off 2 straight games where he's gone for 70, 78 and 81, and now he gets to face the worst rush defense in the league. I feel like with Dak back, I don't know if they're going to let him loose all the way. It could be a run-heavy offense, maybe not so run-heavy, but it's going to be lean that way. And just a healthy dose of Zeke and Pollard. You've seen running backs like Stevenson go off for 150 yards. Penny went off for about 160. So I think 64.5, excuse me, is a very good line for this play.
No, I think it's a good line too. And I've been kind of secretly on the Zeke support group side of things over these last couple of years. I know, he hates this over there with the big Tony Pollard guy. But here's the thing. Tony Pollard is good. There's no doubt about it. But he's just not that guy, right? That's not his role. He's not the lead back. Ezekiel Elliott has been the lead back despite his troubles. And now, like you said, he's actually finally playing pretty well recently, right? He's running the ball pretty well. He's been more efficient. We're seeing more broken tackles. The explosiveness is coming back a little bit more. Plus, this is just probably a volume play at the end of the day. What do you have him around? 17 carries, something like that? Sounds pretty appropriate.
Yeah, 16, 17.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the area I was thinking, especially if they're trying to ease Dak back into it. Like you said, absolutely great matchup right here. And they should be winning too. I have them, like I said, I think they're going to win by 7+ points. So I think that means more Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, and one of my concerns is how the Lions are going to hold up against this defense, because you saw them against the Patriots. They put up a donut. And how are they going to do against, like you guys mentioned, the pass rush of the Cowboys? Diggs in the secondary. This could be in the second half just a run-heavy game plan to kill clock.
Yeah, and this I like how you brought up the volume spot. I think his line right now is 15.5 rush attempts at the over-under. Even at 15, only really need 4 yards a pop here. I obviously don't think that's going to be too hard to do. I just like Pollard. I've been backing him. He just has such low lines, dude. I've just been hammering his plays, and he's obviously been doing very well for me. But when you're in a game like this, 7-point spread, I'm curious. Like you said, I love that you brought up the Lions front line. They're very good. They're very, very tough to beat. So I think this could be a fun one. And honestly, could be fun if the Lions are down like 10-14, make Goff just chuck it around. They've been scoring really quickly. Obviously got Swift back and St. Brown back. These could be quick up and down the field. And then the Cowboys are still winning to run that clock out a little bit, have more of like those 5 to 6 minute drives. And then obviously, hopefully, for my fantasy team, St. Brown can break a couple 40-yarders there for me.
Yeah, that was weird. He came back last game, but he was kind of, they got destroyed, so I guess that's fair. But he was kind of invisible too, so I agree. My fantasy team needs to see some life here from Amon-Ra St. Brown as well.
Yeah, dude, it's Bailey Zappi season, baby. Bailey Zappi
season.
Yeah. But we did talk about, I know you did bring up Rashad Penny. RIP, I'm sorry that you're out for the year, but this guy's been taking over. This is going to be the first play for you, Stu, and I love this spot.
Yeah, man, Kenneth Walker has been unleashed, right? We really saw it last week in a game that we didn't expect them to really be running the ball a whole lot. We kind of expected a pass-heavy game, but obviously they showed that they were committed to both the run and the pass. And really the beautiful thing about this is we get the Chargers matchup right here. I talked about this a little on the DFS show, how I like Kenneth Walker for DFS, but man, Chargers allowed 5.8 yards per carry to a running back, and you think, okay, that's going to change last week, right? They're getting the Broncos. There's no way that keeps going. Latavius Murray did that again, 5 yards per carry, despite the kind of limited action out there. I don't know what's going on with this Chargers run defense, man, but they can't stop anybody, right? We kind of hope there would be some improvements from last season because they were the most targeted run defense for props all last season. That obviously hasn't been true. Kenneth Walker has now covered this in each of his last 2 games as the starter. He's been looking good out there. Additionally, when we look at Chargers versus opposing running backs, they've allowed this number to every single running back they've faced so far this year. Or sorry, not every single starting running back, not some random guy getting 2 carries out here. But the Chargers run defense just has not been good. I believe in Kenneth Walker. I loved him in college, right? I watched a good amount of Michigan State. He's a grinder, great runner, always has the potential to break off those big plays. Additionally, 22 forced missed tackles this season on 44 attempts. That's an insane ratio. That's pretty much forcing a missed tackle on half of his runs so far this season. I think this game is going to be very run heavy. I think the Chargers pass rush can get to Geno Smith, which means they're obviously going to have to supplement that with more running, more quick throws, all that stuff. I think Kenneth Walker has a very good game. I was kind of hoping the longest rush would open on FanDuel. I was hoping we would get a nice because FanDuel always opens like a number or two lower. I don't know if you guys play longest rush or longest reception. Mm-hmm. They wait till like Saturday to release their lines, but they always release it like 1 point lower than everyone else. So if you do feel like waiting it out and risking it, I don't mind that at all too. I might have to double up if they drop a 15.5, but I'm very high on Kenneth Walker, probably for the rest of the season, but especially in this game against the Chargers rush defense.
Yeah. Anything on that one, prop guy?
As a fantasy football owner, I love it. Second best running back in the draft class. No, he should feast. I expect a big game from him. 16.5 is a great number for this one. I'm going to tail it.
Should we do the rookie parlay this week? Maybe Walker, Pierce, Breece Hall? Because those guys are all going to crush this week. I know Breece gets the toughest matchup, but maybe at least a touchdown each or something like that. It feels like the rookie coming out party this week.
Yeah, dude. I think that Jets game is like 6-3, bro.
I might have to take that no touchdown scored again.
Yeah, dude. Congrats on that one. That was fucking wild, man. That was crazy to see that one go through. I know there's a lot of people grabbing that one live in the game when it turned out bad. I didn't see too many doing it pregame though, like you did. So props on that one for sure. Alrighty, I'm staying in that same game. I'm actually be on the other side, and I'm going to Herbert this week. I wasn't on Herbert. We weren't on Herbert last week. It was a tough matchup. I completely faded that team against the Broncos. But we got Mr. Keenan Allen back, baby. That's all I needed to see. All I needed to see was him coming back. 57 pass attempts last week for Justin Herbert against the Broncos. 57, and he didn't even break 250 passing yards. All of it went down to Eckler there. Obviously, I think Joshua Palmer's probably out, which was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen, that he got a concussion on play 1, didn't come out, and now is in concussion protocol after the game. Yeah, he's in concussion protocol right now, which is weird because he played the entire game on one. So that's a whole different story. I'm not even going to get into that. That's unbelievable. I can't believe no one's really talking about that, but I did see he was in concussion protocol, and it was after the first play. But I think that this line is going to be a little weird because of just how good Seattle's defense. I'm going to put quote unquote Seattle's defense was last week against Arizona, right? So they had 6 sacks in that game, didn't allow a touchdown. Cliff Kingsbury should be gone, right? I mean, we've talked about that. I know Stu has been I don't know if he hates him as much as I hate Mike McCarthy, but he's damn close. But all that aside, looking at their run block advantage, pass block advantage, minus 15% run block, plus 10 pass block. I think that's the reason we saw all those dump downs, right? Herbert was under duress the entire game. Broncos front 7 has been fantastic this year, and obviously very, very good coverage on the outside. Now we have Keenan Allen back. You're not going to have the number 1 corner on Mike Williams. I mean, if they do want to do that, Keenan Allen's just going to feast, right? Both these guys have over a 75% matchup advantage, both in the top 15 this week. I think we're finally going to see Mike Williams getting the non-bracket over the top. So now we can maybe see those big plays actually happen. I mean, we watched last week, Mike Williams caught that ball on the sideline. Obviously, his foot went out, but that was one of the craziest catches I've seen this year, trying to even come back and get it. He did catch it, obviously out of bounds, but love Keenan Allen back. Love that we're finally getting all 3 of his big targets healthy at one time with Williams, Eckler, and Keenan Allen. So I just think that this line is a little bit too low. Seattle, if you look outside of last game, has been in absolute shootouts. And when Herbert hasn't been under duress, like we're looking at Houston, we're looking at Jacksonville, really didn't put him under too much duress. He only had 1 sack in that game. And even against Kansas City, right? We weren't under a ton of duress. He's crushed it in those games. Obviously, he did face Denver. He did face a tough Cleveland pass rush there. They suck against the run, but they have been getting sacks there as well. And Vegas has been putting a lot of pressure on guys as well. Obviously, they haven't done much in the secondary. They've been getting cooked, but he hasn't gotten in those games. But when he hasn't really had to deal with the big sack totals, he's been crushing these numbers and being able to throw the ball a little bit more downfield and hit these. So any thoughts on this one? Obviously, I'm sticking in that same Seattle game there.
Yeah, I think I'll take any chance to really support Justin Herbert in a good matchup, right? And let's pump the brakes. The Browns do get pressure, but that defense is terrible. The reason
they're
Herbert
bad.
didn't get
They're the worst run defense I've ever seen, bro.
Yeah.
I want to see what Lamar does with them. I might take his alt line to 250 rushing this week.
Yeah.
That's so bad.
I was going to say the reason Herbert didn't get it in that one is because Eckler broke out like 2 80-yard runs in that game, which makes it like impossible for a quarterback to cash it. But this obviously, like you said, should be much more balanced. Keenan Allen back is absolutely huge. Like you said, Mike Williams getting bracket coverage. He's also just been getting tough matchups, right? We all kind of predicted it last week. You were on the under against Patrick Surtain, and that obviously worked out. This team doesn't have a Patrick Surtain, right? There's no one we have to be super scared of in that Seahawks secondary. And yeah, I missed that Palmer news too. That's kind of crazy, honestly. But I've also talked about how bad Josh Palmer is on the show. I hope he gets better, obviously. No hate right there. But I've talked about how bad he is on the show before and how much of a huge upgrade Keenan Allen will be. So I definitely don't mind this one at all, especially if that Seahawks offense can keep things going, keep, pumping out points. Herbert's just going to be forced to keep throwing it.
Love it. Anything from you, Pop Guy, in this one? You thinking of anything on either side?
I love this over. I think Keenan Allen is the key to this offense. He unlocks everything, because like you guys mentioned, no bracket for Mike Williams. You still have Gerald Everett. He's a threat at tight end.
Yep.
Eckler, he's probably going to reel in his 5 to 6 catches like he usually does. And then you just add Keenan to the fire.
Yeah, last week.
It should be easy.
I was going to say every single play last week was first read, Mike Williams covered. Okay, Austin Eckler check down. Eckler check down. It was just over and over again. So we know he's going to be there, give you a nice 40-yard cushion just to start out the game.
For sure. We got Taylor Fade section coming here. Our pick a Taylor Fade section. Honestly, very surprised. I was not expecting to see this. Not a terrible matchup, but really, I was not expecting to see this name. Stu, let's start out with you, my man. Tailing or fading the public here is the most bet spot for Josh Jacobs, over 80.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, no, so I want to say make sure to drop those questions in while we're doing Taylor Fade right here. This is obviously the most popular play of the day right now, but I'm sure there's tons of stuff in there. Josh Jacobs, that's a tough one. He's been on fire. This is arguably his best season ever, right? He's been good in bursts. He's had some troubles. Maybe he wasn't the pass catcher at times. It seems he's mostly held down this role, though. He's going to be out there on a majority of snaps now, and he's been good. So 80.5 at first, my gut reaction was like, whoa, that's a real high number. I definitely wasn't expecting in the 80s. I was probably thinking more lower 70s, something like that. But the more I think about it, I think this is just going to be a super run-heavy game, back and forth. Like you said, I do think this might actually be a good time to target Devontae Adams on the outside, just because once they put a Hunter Renfrow line out, I'm smashing that under. I don't know what it is, but King has been locking down slot receivers so far this year. I had to learn that the hard way, unfortunately, a couple weeks ago. But the more I think about it, the more I don't actually hate this much as I thought. I think both running backs in this one could possibly end up with 100 rush yards. So I'm going to be going with the over right here. I actually don't mind this one at all.
Prop Guy, any thoughts on Josh Jacobs this week as the most bet spot?
I don't like betting the most bet spot, but I'm going to do it here. He's had 2 monster games, and they're finally embracing him. I think they're just going to stick with it. You're probably going to see 20 carries again.
Oh, for sure. I expect that too. I can't give a full clean sweep. I got to go on the under. I can't give the full clean sweep. I think we did it last week, and I don't think we got it on the 4 of us there. So I have to mix it up a little bit. I'm going to go on the under. Like I said, I think this is a Devontae game. I think this is a game where they just force feed this dude. Houston has been absolutely torched on the outside. I remember Cortland Sutton had his 120 game against these dudes. We've seen multiple number 1 receivers popping off on the Houston Texans. So I think this is a Devontae game. I think that those are going to be the bigger chunk plays, not the Josh Jacobs 20-yard runs that we've been seeing like every single week now. He's just been popping off at least a 20-yard run. So I'll be on the fading section. I'll be on my island by myself over there with my Devontae flag out there chilling.
Hey, I can't get too mad at you. I don't know if you saw last week, Prop Guy, all 4 of us, me, Justin, and then we had Birdman and Vaughn. All four of us went under Mike Evans' 64 receiving yards. I'm sure the chat was mentally thinking, what idiots are up here? What are these losers talking about? And it worked out. So sometimes it pays to be against the public, and I can't really get on you at all.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. It was crazy. I didn't think any of us were going to do it, and then everybody said it. And I'm like, damn, dude, I thought I was going to be the contrarian one here. But Turbo bringing up just a general question. Do you guys have any thoughts on this? I mean, obviously it's a huge upgrade. I'm curious just because this might be the most injury-prone backfield I've ever seen in my life. You have McCaffrey. You have Eli Mitchell, who's obviously very injury-prone. Jeff Wilson, who obviously gets it. I'm surprised he hasn't so far this year. It's just is there something you guys are thinking about this one? Are we thinking this is better? Obviously, they gave up quite a bit to get him.
It's an interesting one. I mean, the actual amount that they gave up, I don't know if I'd be for that, right? If it was my team, right? I mean, I think I'd be looking maybe a lower cost addition to the backfield. I know Antonio Gibson and Cam Akers are two guys that have been talked about. That obviously would be a much less cost. The thing is, this is a win now move, right? They've seen what the Rams are doing. They don't care about draft picks. It looks like they're going in a similar vein, right? Where we'll sacrifice the future and hope to get one of the best running backs healthy too. When we look at it these last couple seasons, injury's been brought up a lot. I don't think McCaffrey is going to be touching the ball 20 times a game anymore, right? He's going to be a big part of this offense, but with a healthy Elijah Mitchell, with Jeff Wilson down there, I think there's going to be, like we're normally used to seeing him at 88, 89 snaps, a crazy rate. I think he'll be closer to 60, 70. We'll see Debo in the backfield. We'll see a lot of different looks. I think it makes this team more explosive, but it definitely came at a high cost. So I'm curious to hear what you guys think about that.
For me, it's just contingent on his health. I mean, if he's healthy, he's going to be a game changer. This allows Debo to go back to receiver. You don't have to see him at running back anymore. So he's focused on one aspect of it. You still have Ayuk. You still got Kittle. So, I mean, I think, like you said, it's a win now move. They see the Rams are struggling. They see that they have their window of opportunity in this division. Yeah, so I don't hate it. I don't hate it for the circumstances. They did overpay, obviously. Give me all the picks if I'm a GM. Yeah, but dude, no, I think it's a positive impact on the team.
Yeah, I just don't know how who's going to be affected the most. I'm curious. Is it going to be 60-40 with him and Elijah Mitchell once they're healthy? Are they going to use him maybe slot-ish type of spots too because he can run those routes? So it's just a lot of different things here. Obviously, they're wanting to run the football. That's what they're known for.
Shanahan's such a creative play caller, right? This you can do. I mean, if he really accepts the craziness, he can do some insane stuff. Just imagine a fourth quarter, 3rd and 1 with CMC and Debo Samuel in the backfield. Suddenly they both motion out wide. He goes back into shotgun. There's so many different situations. Kittle, obviously one of the best blocking tight ends, but also a yak monster. I think this does affect, I think someone asked it, or no, maybe you said who it affects the most. I think it affects Debo the most. I think if you're a Debo fantasy owner, I don't think you're going to be happy with this. A lot of his elite fantasy production at the end of last year came in the rushing game, right? He can obviously catch passes. He's a yak monster, but we got to remember Debo Samuel is not a separation wide receiver. He is not cooking guys on routes whatsoever out there. He bullies them once he gets the ball in his hand. I think this generally just means less touches for Debo Samuel. So I do think that hurts Debo a little bit, but I just think it'll be an absolutely Shannon was going to waste. Yeah, I mean, what's going on? Trey Sermon with a 3rd round pick, kicking him out of town. TDP from LSU coming in here, hasn't even touched the field. It's a valid point right there, but I'm just excited. I hope Shanahan goes full Madden on us and just pulls out the crazy stuff from the playbook because he has the possibilities now.
For sure. We could see Debo, McCaffrey, Wildcat with Kittle at the fullback. You still got Juszczyk yet, right? Damn, dude. And obviously Eli Mitchell's still damn good. Eli Mitchell's damn good running back as your backup. A guy who you could use as a starting running back at probably 75% of the teams here. It's crazy. This team is crazy.
And Jeff Wilson too. He's having his best season of his career. He's not a leader or anything, but very dependable as well. It's just a tough team.
This trade did hurt my fantasy football team because now I've lost Elijah Mitchell as a running back 1, and now I lost Jeff Wilson as a running back 1.
Yeah, no, I have Eli Mitchell too. So and that's in my 16-man league. That's in my 16-man league where I mean I lost him and Cordero Patterson. I only have one IR spot, so that sucks. Wan'Dale Robinson finding his way into my starting lineup this week because I'm missing Gabe Davis and Josh Allen, Matt Ryan. Jesus, dude, my team is trash this week. I just took the L because I have like 6 Bills on every team, so it's tough. I'm gonna kick this to you, Stu. Let's kick it to you on this one. You got any thoughts on this? Obviously, it's the matchup of both our teams.
Yeah, I mean, I think the odds are pretty solid on this one, honestly, as long as you're getting this on the better side of plus money. I'm not sure what the best odds on the market are right now. But I would say if you're getting like plus 130, something like that, I do think that's pretty reasonable just because the Packers run defense isn't great, right? We've talked about that a lot this season where teams have come into the Packers and pretty much been like, hey, just so you know, we're going to run the ball all game. And it still ends up working. And their pass defense is good, right? Their pass defense is really good. They get pressure on the quarterback, which means less opportunity for a guy like Terry McLaurin. And I think Jahan Dotson might be missing again, who was a red zone monster.
He left practice yesterday.
Yep, he was set to play, and I watched the clip. He just pulled up on his hamstring, hurt himself again, unfortunately. So the Dotson one's actually sneaky huge because they love him in the red zone so far this season. So I do think he probably gets in there. It's just, will Antonio Gibson vulture you? That's the question we got to ask. But they took Gibson out. He got them to the goal line last time, and then they took him out for Robinson. So I could see that happening again.
All right, prop guy. Question for you if you want to take this one. We got George Pickens over 18.5 longest reception brought to us by our guy Jay here. Any thoughts on this one? I think it's Trubisky out there.
1 second. I'm trying to find it here real quick.
Is Trubisky?
Trubisky, I'm probably going to say no. I just don't like that offense with him there. I mean, he's a game manager. He's not going to be explosive. Pickett. Oh, he did. Pickett did clear.
Did he clear the concussion?
Yeah. I hadn't really got to that one. I don't really look ahead too much, but given it's the Dolphins, yeah, I'd probably take that over.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think if you kind of have to.
You're going to have to be throwing the ball.
Yeah.
They also blitz a lot, so a lot of one-on-one coverage right there. Just got to kind of give them a chance to too. So.
Eyes closed, throw it up, right? Eyes closed, the Terry McLaurin of last year. All righty. I think we got through all of the questions. If you guys have any more, drop them in the chat. We'll get to them. And actually talking about Brian Robinson gets us right into the spot here for PSG's second one here. Loving this spot. You're back in one of Mono's guys here.
My favorite quarterback in the league. Taylor Heineke over 13.5 rushing yards. Now, we really don't know what we're going to get with him this year. We haven't seen him yet. But last year, what we knew was he wasn't great, but he's going to play hard. And last time out versus the Packers last year, he went off for 95 yards on 10 rush attempts. So, I'm kind of banking on that previous performance and the Packers' run defense being in a rough spot right now, in all honesty. So we're going to take the over 13.5, and I think he ends up in the 20s.
Well, the other good thing, too, is we just talked about their run defense is bad, but their pressure is good. So even when it's not on designed quarterback runs, right, if he's just trying to make a play and suddenly that pressure is constantly getting to him, he's going to have to force to turn to his legs. And we kind of talked about this before. I think last time you were on the show, like a year ago for NFL, I think you gave out a Heineke prop then, too.
Probably passing touchdowns. It was probably over 1.5. I always took it at plus odds.
Exactly. And it cashed more than it didn't. So I can't really hate on that one at all. But yeah, he's a gamer. Like you said, he's going to go out there. He's not sliding. A lot of guys slide. Kyler Murray sees the guy 10 yards away. He's going to the ground instantly. Heineke, he knows he's playing on borrowed time out here. Sam Howell's knocking on the door right now. He's getting every single yard he can. Third down. He's a good sneak candidate as well. So I really can't hate on this one at all, especially with that pressure that I'm sure you're going to mention in a second right here.
Yeah, no, I love this spot. I think this is great. Obviously, we just saw what a bum ankle Daniel Jones did to this Packers defense on there. And I think this obviously does help that the Packers are going to be pinned, ears back. I mean, for this one, if it hasn't hit by the fourth quarter and they're down, right, they're coming. They're coming. All you have to do is beat the outside and get out there. Obviously, pretty good coverage linebackers for running backs there, but they haven't been able to spy on these quarterbacks. The quarterbacks have just been cooking them. and I think you mentioned this, Stu, in our last show, was Brian Robinson really doesn't catch passes. Gibson's really the guy. If McKissick's out there, they're going to have a game plan for McKissick. He's such a big, integral part of third down stuff. So I think we're going to have that locked up, and this would be a spot for Heineke to run on those types of plays where those plays break down a little bit. And staying in the same game, heading over to my side. I was not expecting this, Stu. I really wasn't. I thought you were going to full fade my Packers, but I like to see it.
There's two props I like actually for your Packers. One of them was going to be, I'll give a little spoiler right here for the loyal Pass the Prop listeners. I'm definitely playing Allen Lazard longest reception this week. No doubt about it. That'll 100%. It was the first bet I made on Prize Picks too. It's just his regular yards earlier this week. But going over, I like this one just as much right here. We're going Aaron Jones over 22.5 receiving yards. And I think I talk about this a lot when we talk about Washington. They have a good run defense. They held Derrick Henry to 3.6 yard per carry. They've been keeping guys in check week in, week out, right? When we look at the strength of that defensive line, it's Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne, those guys fighting inside, those blue chip, Alabama first round picks on the inside. They're great run stoppers. And we know the Packers are going to want to run the ball a lot. The plays that have been working the best with running backs against Washington have been those little dump downs. When we look at how it's been so far, every running back has cashed their receiving yards number except Miles Sanders, where they were up 24-0 at halftime and they just ran the ball, right? There's no need to dump down to your running back when you have no threat of losing the game whatsoever. You might as well just run the game up the middle. The other one was David Montgomery last week with Justin Fields, a quarterback who not only doesn't ever check down, he'll just take it himself. But if you watch that game, Montgomery was open for the check down all the time against Washington. I mean, literally all the time. I know a lot of people have Montgomery, so I was seeing it all over my timeline. He's just open, right? And Washington wasn't guarding him. Just Fields didn't take advantage of it. So when I look at the way this game is going to plan out, I think they're going to try to establish the run early. Maybe Jones breaks out a run or two. I think Dillon's going to struggle a decent amount as well. I was looking at his under. I think it's going to be hard to run in this Washington team. I think they're going to do exactly what Tennessee did when they were struggling to run, was those dump down. Derrick Henry had a 20-yard catch. Hillard had a 20-yard catch. Those quick, easy passes to Aaron Jones. Looking at Aaron Jones, when you talk about it, people are acting like he's having the worst season of all time. He's not having the typical Aaron Jones season. The usage isn't what he expected. He still hit this number in half of his games so far. And then additionally, the big thing, I'm sure a lot of people have seen it, Aaron Rodgers, right, in his, what was that show? What's that again? Where the McAfee, right? He said, we need to get Aaron Jones the ball. There's no doubt about it. He was very clear that Aaron Jones needs to be more involved. That's obviously not the reason that I'm betting it, but that's a nice cherry on top, right? Good to see that his quarterback is realizing, maybe I don't need to be chucking deep shots all game. Maybe we can get our star running back involved a little bit more. So I feel very good about Aaron Jones having a nice game today. Or not today, Sunday.
Prop guy, any thoughts here? We got Aaron Jones facing Washington. Obviously, we broke the game down here. You going to be rolling with Aaron Jones this week?
I do like that over. I think the connection he has with Rodgers is significant. And when Rodgers says something like that, when you got to get the ball to somebody, I think he's one of the quarterbacks that actually means it. Because you look back, he vouched for Allen Lazard years ago and then immediately started feeding him the ball. So now he says this with Aaron Jones. I think Aaron Jones probably goes off he's going to easily clear this line. Let's just say that.
I love it. And definitely.
And if he doesn't, blame it on me because I just said he's easily going to do it. I'll take it.
Also, who else he vouched for? He vouched for Cobb. Freaking 38-year-old Cobb, however old he is, he's way past his prime, and this dude's still getting double-digit targets, right? So I definitely agree with what you're saying because Rodgers really doesn't. Dude, it's just straight. It's just like, this is what I'm going to say. This is what's going to happen, right? There's not much else, no sugarcoating on much of this stuff. But I'm heading to the game that most people would probably say is their main screen TV, and that is the San Francisco facing off against the Chiefs here. Jimmy G, he's back. He hasn't been on the card so far this year, but last year he was a staple, pass the prop staple, one of the guys I loved to roll with last year. I'm going to head to his over 248.5 passing yards facing the Chiefs. Looking at Jimmy G's in the losses, right? In the losses this year for the Niners, he's averaging 254 passing yards per game in those two losses. I think this game starts out just like the Chiefs always do. The Chiefs are the second highest first half scoring team in the league, right? What I wanted to see And what happened last week is when the Niners were down, they finally just said, hey, we're going to throw the ball and stop running the ball, right? I was happy to see Jimmy G clearing, 40 pass attempts? When's the last time we've ever said that? He cleared 40 pass attempts when they're down 2 scores, right? And how do the Chiefs win? They push it early, right? That's why they're one of the best run defenses in the league, because teams can't run the ball because they're down by 10 to 21 points. Like right away, they punch you square in the mouth, and then you're kind of just screwed, and you have to abandon your running game plan. If that happens here, Jimmy G has the weapons. He has the yards after the catch type of guys. He can throw the ball 3 yards and get 20 out of it. If we just look at like last game, right? We had 8 catches for Ayuk, 8 catches for Kittle, 7 for Debo, right? Every one of those guys with 15-plus yard reception. And I'm telling you right now, he probably has the most yards after the catch for a quarterback of anybody, right? Because he's just feeding a 3-yard pass to freaking Debo, still counts for 20 yards, right? Kittle, I know you mentioned this before, Stu. He's fantastic with the ball in his hands going down the field, and Ayuk is finally starting to pick it up a little bit in terms of his yards after the catch and kind of taking over that middle of the field role that they really haven't had now that Debo had to be running back. Obviously, it's going to change now with Christian McCaffrey, but Brandon Ayuk has done a very formidable job in that spot. I think Jimmy G here has to, in a primetime game, try his best to keep the Niners close and let that defense make a play at the end, because Kansas City is clicking right now. Kelsey's going to do his thing, right? We're finally starting to see Juju play real football, right? He's starting to actually play. We're not going to talk about MVS, but I like Sky more, right? We don't need to talk about MVS and his brick hands. I don't need to hear about that anymore. But I think if the Chiefs get ahead in this game, we're going to see 40-plus attempts. Like I said, the number 2 scoring first half team at almost 17 points per first half this year. Woo! If the Chiefs get up in this one, I think it's going to be a fun little day around the office for Jimmy G chucking that ball around.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's tough to bet Jimmy G sometimes, but I think the name value kind of almost makes it a lower number, right? Because books know people aren't going to be betting Jimmy G up at 260 pass yards because they just associate Jimmy G with like interceptions or something like that. So you get a little bit of value, when a guy isn't as popular. And yeah, like exactly like you said, it's if you're trailing in this game, you got to throw, right? They can't just run Jeff Wilson up the middle. It looks like CMC will be involved, but in a very limited capacity. I believe that's what I read, maybe only in red zone kind of packages, stuff like that, which is unfortunate. If CMC was at full strength, I would love this even more, right? I mean, that adds a nice dimension that they don't have. I came in here, I almost actually had Ayuk as one of my plays for today. So I definitely agree with the same game script that they're going to have to be pushing the ball down the field. If they're going to be trailing, they're going to be seeing a lot of kind of deeper coverage, right? A lot of let them just take those check downs. Could be a Kittle game too, right? Kittle had 80 yards when they were trailing last week. Could be a Kittle game also. So definitely don't have anything bad to say about this one. The Chiefs offense, they're on a different level right now. So we'll see.
Prop guy, any thoughts? You've been rolling with the Chiefs or San Francisco at all this year?
Mahomes over 2.5 passing touchdowns been the moneymaker on the Chiefs team. But no, I love this Jimmy G play because in all likelihood the game script is going to lean more towards passing because the odds are you're going to be playing catch up with Patrick Mahomes. So no, I love this one.
Isn't this line a little weird too, right? I mean, the 49ers, being 2-point underdogs, 2.5, doesn't it feel like it should be a little bit wider than that?
What I was going to talk about. Exactly. Mm-hmm. 2 points is weird.
Yeah. It makes me want to bet the 49ers. It does. I want to. I mean, this last year I was in here in the playoffs every week, the end of the season, betting the Niners. I kind of want to go back to it right here, but it's risky. It's very risky.
It's gross, but it might not be the worst look. I don't know.
I'm embracing grossness this week. I just bet Kansas State earlier today. All sports.
For sure. Plus Money Bob bringing that up too. It's just kind of I would expect this at 4, right? Something like that. Just a little bit higher than this, but I will now drop this on the bottom ticker for you guys. That is all of the plays for our spots today. I do not see too many. Ryan actually bringing up a good point there. I believe that is for the rushing for Taylor Heineke over 12.5. If you guys have the availability to that line, head on over there. He says -110. That's obviously a great price. I'm giving you a great spot there. I haven't seen any questions in here too much today. Only thing was a basketball question. I guess I can get used to as a fellow Washington fan here. Any thoughts here against this one here before we get into our recap?
Yeah, I was going to say we got the touchdown parlay too, so make sure you get your questions in. And I know it's lunchtime. It's freaking 1 o'clock on a Friday. I know people have got work and stuff, so make sure to drop your questions just in the comments, right? Me and PPS are always watching them. We'll answer your questions even if you're not here live. Don't worry. We're not judging you. We understand it's a work day, but yeah, for my Wizards, speaking of lines that are disgusting, by the way, why are the Wizards favored against the Bulls? I don't get it, right? The Wizards beat the Pacers, but like barely. We were up by 20 and we let them come back right into the game at the end. So the Bulls actually looked pretty good without Zach LaVine in their first game. It's a suspicious line. Like when I looked at this and I was like, Wizards are favored because I wanted to bet on us, right? I was fired up after our first game. I'm like, yeah, let's go plus 130, something like that. And we were minus 130. So I almost kind of want to take him to win just because of the suspicious aspect of it. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be a close one, but I don't know if I'd be capping it like that. I think I'd probably have the Bulls as 3-point favorites or something like that.
Yeah, it's weird for sure. I'm looking at Pat bringing up the Jimmy G. He's on Bet Rivers and on DraftKings. I know that I've had a few people when I posted this in a different spot. They said that they didn't have it on DraftKings either. But in my state, I don't know if it's just because it's in Illinois. Maybe they just have it there. I know sometimes it's weird where some states have it and some of them don't, right? Yep. I've had that multiple times where I'll send something into like my VIP over there and it's just like, oh, we don't have it. And I'm like, I literally have it right here. And it's in Illinois, but it's not in like Jersey or something. It's just weird on some of these states having it there. But Bet Rivers is the one I originally grabbed that on for sure. But DraftKings does have it up.
DraftKings pulled them for me at least.
You do have it?
I don't have them on DraftKings. I think they pulled them down.
Yeah, Illinois, I do have them. I did have them there about 30, 40 minutes ago or before the show. Did have it there. But, yeah, I'm sure the McCaffrey news probably made the books kind of get scared off, especially now that they said he might play. They probably just assumed he wasn't going to play and then might go around there. But, yeah, I don't think we have any other questions here. So let's get to our recap, and then we will head to our touchdown parlay. Almost 20-1 on this one, so I'm very excited to hopefully cash one of these big boys in here. Okay, get to you, Stu. I'll let you start out with your recap, and then we'll get to you, prop guy.
Sounds good. I'll be starting out with Kenneth Walker, longest rush over 16.5 right here. Like I said, too, FanDuel might drop a 15.5. So if you have eagle eyes and you have patience and you want to wait for that FanDuel, I'll be doing the same. I'll be trying to hunt that 15 as well. Then I'll be going over to Aaron Jones over 22.5 receiving yards against my own Washington. Let's see right there. Got my newly added decoration behind me. So I think he's gonna have a pretty good game. Maybe some alt lines, 50+. And then finally, Taylor fade. I'll actually be tailing Josh Jacobs over 80.5 rush yards. At first, it sounded a little bit high to me, but I'm kind of feeling it now. I see the vision.
Love it. Let's kick it to you, PSG, on your spot here.
So we're starting with Heineke over 13.5 rushing yards. Like I said, the kid's just a baller. We really don't know what we're gonna get out of him this year, but he's gonna play hard, and he's not afraid to run, not afraid to take a hit. So yeah, we'll see what the kid's got for us on Sunday. And then probably what will end up being one of my favorite props is Zeke Elliott over 64.5. I will probably ladder this one up to 80. Maybe a sprinkle on 100. I don't know. He's only done it once in the last 2 years. But he has one of the best matchups in the league tonight. I mean, in this game, Lions, not good. Just say that.
Yeah, for sure. And then Taylor Fay.
I feel gross, but I'm going to tail it as well. I'll join the whole world on the over.
All right. I will be the one weird guy on fading the public here. It's just Mike Evan from last week, baby. You got to go to it. Got to fade it. I'm going to be rolling with the under 80.5. Let's see that Devontae pop-off game here. And I'll be heading to – I know it's weird, man. We haven't seen him this year, but I'm popping to Jimmy G over 248.5. And I'm also rolling with Justin Herbert over 282.5 as well. Weird to that point, guys. We're to that point dropping this touchdown parlay. Some pretty big odds for us. I think all of us are over plus 130 So let's get after it today. We'll start with you here, Prop Guy. What do you got for us?
So I have probably the most risky leg on it, Hayden Hurst. Plus, was this on DraftKings or FanDuel? So it'd probably be plus 225 then on DraftKings, but it is plus 260 over on FanDuel. He's playing his former team, and he's had a very good year. He's almost matched his numbers through 6 games that he had all last season. And I just, you can spin a narrative here. You want to prove to your old team how good you are. Any athlete can relate to that. And with the passing offense that the Bengals have, I think he's got a good shot. And you look at the games that the Falcons have given up to tight ends. David Njoku, over 100 yards. Great game. Sorry, I'm trying to do it off the top of my head. I can't remember. But there was two others. I
know who you're talking about.
Big B was like 7 receptions, 71 yards, and then there was one more. But they've given up big games to tight ends all year long.
Didn't Hurst get his revenge against the Ravens too? Didn't he get a touchdown then? I can't remember, but at least he had a pretty solid game. He's going on a revenge tour, right? I mean, he's got all his former teams right here. So, and also, once again, I believe he led the all tight ends and routes run last week. I don't know if that's still true, but he's definitely top 3. So he's not out there to block, which is always a good sign, right? You hate it when like the Kittles of the world are just stuck blocking. Hayden Hurst is not out there blocking.
Yeah, I love it. I'm going to be heading to, I think, the lowest odds for me. I think Ayuk's a little bit higher. But I think Dameon Pierce, plus 135. This boy has done it in 3 straight games. He's fallen into the end zone. And let's just talk about volume. 26 carries last week, and he was only averaging 3.8 yards a carry. This guy is getting the ball. I know Lovie Smith came out, I believe, like Monday saying, we're going to get this ball 20. He's getting 20 touches. Right, he's getting 20 touches. Guess what? You ain't putting Rex Burkhead in on the goal line. That's for damn sure. That boy is not going in when it's inside the 5-yard line. Those are all Dameon Pierce. We don't really have to worry as much about Davis Mills vulturing these touchdowns either. He's got a perfect setup. 2 guys that are not going to take a hit inside the red zone. You got Dameon Pierce. 26, 14, 20 are the last 3 games for rushes. I also like that he's getting receptions. He's got 11 receptions in the last 3 games as well. 3 straight touchdowns. I think it goes for 4 here against the Las Vegas Raiders.
I love Pierce, man. Like I said earlier, these rookies are just balling out right now. So I'm a little sad I don't have them in fantasy football, but hey, I can still bet on them, right? You get a little bit of that back. I'm going to Brandon Ayuk. 2 touchdowns last week, was showing out. He's been getting better every single week, too. If you watch those routes, he cooked A.J. Terrell, one of the best cover corners in the NFL, on both of those touchdowns with some nasty short yardage routes right there. Ayuk, I think they're going to have to pass the ball. This kind of backs up with what you were talking about earlier with Jimmy G, right? You're not going to be able to march down the field with Jeff Wilson over and over again, right? That's probably not going to be a strategy that's very sustainable against the Chiefs. Ayuk is also the deep threat. So not only was he involved with 2 red zone touchdowns last week, he's also going to be the guy running those 40-yard routes downfield, getting those bombs. I know Jimmy G will only throw 1 or 2 a game, but they are mostly always to Ayuk. Once in a while, Juwan Jennings steals one, but mostly Ayuk down there. I like guys that can score both inside and outside the red zone. That's one of my biggest criteria. So I like all 3 of these. Dameon Pierce was actually going to be my pick too as well. He was on my mind 100%. And then Hayden Hurst, I've bet on this guy a lot. I bet on him live every week. He gets like 1 reception in the first half, and I'm like, yep, that's good enough for me. Let's lock it in. And he keeps running those routes. So I like all 3 of these. I'm getting good vibes this week at almost 2,000 right here.
I love it. I do not see any other questions there in the chat. But if you guys are just tuning in now, make sure you guys check out the bottom. That's going to have all of our plays listed on who's taking them. But we appreciate you, Prop Guy. Thank you for coming in. Do you have anything for the people? Where can they find you? Any shout outs? What you got for them before we head out today? We're right about that hour mark. This is perfect.
So if you haven't followed me already over on Twitter, it's just @AboveAveragePropGuy like it is on the screen. Instagram, same thing. TikTok, same thing. Let's have a good weekend.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
Love it. Stu, what do you got for the people here?
Yeah, normally I don't plug stuff either, but if you're here on Friday and you want to watch me give out 3 more picks, I'm on NBC's Battle of the Bets today. So I'll be retweeting that on my own personal Twitter. I'll be going head-to-head with Eric Froton, one of the best college football cappers in the world. I took down Silva yesterday, so I'm ready to keep my winning streak alive over on NBC. So if you guys like these props, you thought they were good, then make sure to go check out. I give out 3 more, 2 for NBA tonight, and then 1 for the weekend for NFL. So like I said, if you guys are, need some more bets to tail tonight or some Sunday bets, I'll be going head to head over there. And yeah, nothing much besides that. Definitely follow Above Average Prop Guy, giving out multiple sports, right? Killing everything. I see a lot of those long shot parlays. Whenever I think of you, I know this is going to be painful. I'm still going to bring it up anyway. That Zion Williamson missed layup. What was that, 2 NBA seasons ago? One of the most brutal beats I've ever seen on Twitter before, but I know he's made up for it tenfold, especially a couple weeks ago with that no touchdown live or one that you hit with crazy odds. So he's still hitting the tickets. Yeah.
All right. I can finish it up here. Make sure you guys follow us over on Pickett there for sure. Make sure you guys do that. PTP is the code for that. Second, we have Above Average Prop Guys link to his Twitter in the description below. Make sure you pop over there. Check him out if you guys haven't already. I'm sure you already do. But if you don't, make sure you pop over there again. And then obviously we have more content coming out Monday. I have my other YouTube Play of the Day videos popping out here every single day. So make sure if you guys want more content, you're following on Twitter, every single spot, Instagram, wherever you're looking, make sure you go follow all of us over there and make sure you lock in all your plays. And also be smart with your money this weekend. There's so much action everywhere you look. We got UFC, you got NFL, you got college football, you got so much fun stuff. NBA starting up. Make sure you guys are smart with that money there. And hopefully we're able to continue to make you guys some units here. Looking forward to going for, I think, 3 straight weeks, three straight winning Sundays here on Past the Prop. So thank you guys for tuning in. You guys are the best, and we'll catch you guys on Monday, hopefully with a fire recap going 6-0 here. So have a good one, guys. Best of luck on your bets, and we'll talk to you guys on Monday.